What's up, students? It's time. It is time for your music appreciation class. It's yours truly, Mr. Imamura. And I am so excited because I get to bring to you today, all the way from the shores of Santa Cruz, California, Mr. Stormy Strong.
Ahoy!
There
How
he
you guys
is.
doing? How you doing, Justin?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Stormy, for joining us here today on this wonderful, wonderful, cool afternoon here in the Bay Area. Stormy, you come to us all the way from Santa Cruz, California. Stormy,
Yes.
first question I have for you today for the students. Is that your real name?
Yes, Stormy Strong is my given name. I hear that one a lot, actually.
How did you get that name?
Well, Strong's my last name, and my dad's a commercial fisherman, and there's another Stormy who had the nickname of Stormy, and so I was named after his nickname. There were other names that were in the selection, but the Stormy was the best. One of them was Banjo, so how fitting for a musical show.
I love it. And do you play the banjo at all?
I tinker on them, but I don't have one. No.
Tell the students what instruments you play.
Well, I play guitar. I sing. I play some bass. Play 12-string guitar, electric and acoustic. So mostly stringed instruments. I can find my way around any of them pretty much with some time.
And Stormy, what's the difference between an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar?
Well, the acoustic guitar isn't not amplified, and oftentimes there will not be any pickup, which picks up the sound from the vibrating strings to be amplified. Whereas there'll be pickups in electric guitars, sometimes multiple pickups that then amplify and then can be broadcast through a speaker with an amplifier.
Gotcha. So an acoustic guitar is basically something that is not plugged in necessarily, that you don't have to plug in actually. It's hollow. And then an electric guitar is something that you actually have to plug in to make sound, correct?
Yes.
Very cool. And
So you can put your pickups in your acoustic guitar.
Gotcha. And do you prefer to play an acoustic guitar or an electric?
I like writing songs on acoustic, and I like playing and performing on electric because
Excellent.
the strings have a different amount of tension, and you can play longer on an electric guitar, generally speaking, than you can acoustic because you don't have to apply as much pressure. And for bar chords, which I tend to do a lot of, there are more work on acoustic guitars.
And Stormy, I have to ask, your background looks like you are in some sort of ship. Uh, and is that your theme of your music?
Yes, I make something that I call saltwater rock, and being the son of a sailor who spent time on the sea, and I'll always have an appreciation of nautical history. I've collected things, and people give me things over the years that have helped build this studio where sometimes I make videos right here.
Excellent. I love that. That's super cool. So you write music based on like nautical and water-like themes. Can you explain a little bit of that?
Well, I do some most of the time, but it depends on, kind of like for any songwriter, what you're feeling. But overall, since I've had most of my life living on and near the ocean, those tend to come to me most naturally when I'm strumming guitar. Like I'll hear something and I'll go, oh, that reminds me of the time I was in this storm, fishing with my dad 100 miles offshore, and I thought we were going to die, or something like that. And that sounds kind of dark and powerful. So oftentimes that's where I'll go, and I have a lot of songs like that I haven't even released, but over the years those have come naturally, the most easy.
And when did you start playing music?
When I was about 5, my dad, and that'll be dating me, my dad had 8-track tape deck, but it also did recording. So he had these little microphones, and my sister and I would just sing, and I'd come up with lyrics and melodies that just drove my dad nuts. We'd go hiking and I'd sing some melody and he couldn't get out of his head. And then I'd come home and start recording on this thing. And then after that, I just started banging on a guitar. So I got
Wow.
a real
So
guitar.
At 5 years old, that's like kindergarten age. You were influenced and wanted to play music super young. That is very cool.
Yeah, and nobody really played music in my family. I mean, they had maybe in high school, maybe college a little bit, but nobody had pursued it beyond that. So there was no musician in the family saying like, "Hey, check this out." It was my own self discovery, basically, of musicians and just that I love music.
And are you a self-taught musician? Like at age 5, like did you just pick up a guitar and start playing? How did that all transpire to where you're at now?
Well, actually, now I think about it, it was the radio. My dad played, funnily, oddly enough, for the music I create, a lot of flamenco and mariachi music. And then there were always the radio hits. So I remember things like, well, I remember like the Everly Brothers, Bird Dog being played for me on 45 vinyl.
Well, Johnny is a joker. He's a bird, a very funny joker. He's a bird, but when he jokes my honey, he's the dog. He joking, no, no funny. What a dog. Johnny is a joker that's a trying to steal my baby. He's a bird dog.
And then like Elvis Presley singles, and then a couple other things that come to mind that I heard a lot of, just like great hit songs that were on 45s, oldies mostly. And then later on came Betty Davis Eyes for some reason, and Playing with the Queen of Hearts, these very catchy songs as a kid that I heard, and I could not get them out of my head. And that was kind of like what attracted me, these catchy melodies that just made me happy.
Very cool. And you were saying a 45 vinyl. What is a 45 vinyl for the kids out there?
It's a record. It's a vinyl record, but it's not the big like 78 full-size album. You can't fit an album with the songs on it. So generally they'd have like one or two songs, maybe probably short if there are two, but one on the front, one on the back, or two on the front, two on the back. And that's how like music was distributed long ago, even before I was born. And I remember my grandparents had stacks and stacks of these 45s, and we would just play with them and then just put them on and see what came on next.
And so you're telling me that music didn't come on a phone or a computer?
No.
So music came on this circle piece of plastic or wax or whatever it's made out of, and music was on it, and it spun around, and music came out of like a like basically a horn, right?
Yes. Well, this went to speakers, in this case, a stereo amplifier. But the needles were gold and very expensive. And I remember I broke a couple of my dad's needles putting records on, and that was probably almost $100 a pop. So he never let me forget us breaking his record player needles.
And so for the kids out there that are listening, that's how music was played back then. It was played on vinyl, and it was on they call it a record player, and it spun around. There was a needle that went down on the vinyl, and the music went through that and came out of speakers, and that's what you get. And then, a couple years later, 10 years later, I don't know, 20 years later, what came out after that? The 8-track, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then you got the tape deck, and then you got a compact disc, which is called a CD. And maybe some of your parents or guardians or grandparents have a CD player in their car that you would put in these discs. And then now everything is streamed from your cell phone or on your computer or whatever it is. And there's an infinite amount of music that's available today.
It's everywhere. It's crazy. I remember there was a time you could never find anything unless you were on foot in a store.
Wow.
Now you have everything within a second.
And speaking of music, Stormy, how many albums do you have out right now?
How many albums? Most of my records are EPs. So I'd say I have one album and then a bunch of singles and a couple EPs worth of songs. And I'm constantly writing. Go ahead.
And where can the students find all your music?
So everywhere where you guys listen to music anyway, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, basically
Everywhere.
anywhere you guys listen to music, you'll find songs for sure.
Very cool. And Stormy, what is the most memorable show you've ever played on?
That I performed at.
Yeah.
That was in Las Vegas in the late 90s. We opened for Blink 182.
Wow. That is awesome. Kids,
Yeah, that was awesome.
Kids, Blink 182 is a punk rock band, and it's a trio that is one of my favorite bands actually as well. That is awesome.
I love them. They were great and very nice guys.
Yeah. Yeah, they're basically like kids. They're adults now, but they still pretend like they're kids.
Yeah, well, they were definitely kids then. And acting like kids, but they were fun.
That's awesome. Stormy, tell us about your songwriting process of how you write songs. Do you write it down in a notebook? Like, where do you get words and ideas to write these songs?
So yeah, so sometimes I kind of force myself to have these songwriting sessions where I'll sit down, because honestly, for anyone doing music, the hardest part, and probably anything, is starting. So you just have to get started, find yourself in a comfortable environment, whether I go down by the ocean or just be in my studio. But so you could start with something like this. Like I often would use a book, a journal. And then over the years, I also just happen to have anything I had on hand. So I have, there goes all the papers. So I have like a binder just full of things and chords and charts and all kinds of stuff like that. Nowadays, though, if I'm in front of the computer, I use Google Docs. Otherwise, I'm just using paper.
Wow. There's something when you write lyrics on a piece of paper that kind of, you can write it down. If you visually see it, it kind of transpires in your brain, and it's a sort of art just writing it down, right?
Oh yeah, and it allows you to quickly and easily edit it right there on the fly. For me, I like Google Docs because there's no way once you've made the change, it's saved forever. Like if you lose your piece of paper, it might be gone forever. So I've gotten used to that, or just taking my notes and copying them down into Google. But the thing is, like you say, having that is magical, because you just need to get the ideas down anywhere you are.
Very cool. And you talked about working with different songwriters. Do you work with other songwriters and work together as a team?
Yeah, I've worked with many people, and I've worked with instructional songwriter, basically songwriting coaches. But like currently, I'll work with people who are recording with me on the songs, and my wife who's also in the band that's called Stormy Strong under my name, and we'll usually I'll come up with an idea, or Saraya will come up with an idea, or sometimes I'll ask a musician, because when you were one person, you tend to create certain styles and stuff. You tend to go that way. So sometimes I'll go like, can you make something different? So I have a song called Lie, which my bass player, Doug Paul Hamus, he came up with the whole progression, because I wanted something different. He knew what I wanted, but it wasn't something that I necessarily could, without a collaboration, come up with myself.
Very cool. So you work as a team with other musicians to create a song, correct?
Yeah, I think collaboration is always the best way to go with music. It's great to have your own ideas, but you can just make everything so much better when you take everyone trying to make something better, in my opinion, music specifically.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, working together as a team is always super beneficial in life, and then also, playing music and whatever it might be. Stormy, I have a funny question for you actually right now.
Okay.
It's a total random off the topic question. If you were a cartoon character, who would you be?
I would probably be Popeye, I think.
I was going to say that.
Though sometimes I think I might be Bluto. But I like Popeye. Popeye, he eats spinach, and kind of I feel like when you're making music, music is a tough business in any way. So you kind of have to imagine yourself as some kind of super cartoon character hero to just to keep going.
Right, right,
sometimes.
exactly. Yeah, no, totally, totally. And students, Popeye the Sailor Man is a great cartoon that you also check out, and it's super classic. And if you've been to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, I think they have little remnants of Popeye over there at the boardwalk, but I don't know. You might have to. Popeye might be licensed over there now, or whatever.
Yeah, I think they didn't keep up the licensing. I read that somewhere.
Okay, gotcha.
Because he's the perfect mascot for the amusement park.
Definitely, that's true. That's true. Now, Stormy and I played together in a band, and I get the chance to perform with Stormy on stage. And his whole theme is saltwater rock and nautical theme. So I'm wearing one of the outfits I play on stage, and it's like an aviator outfit. And when I'm behind the drums, I get to wear basically a costume, of being back there. And Stormy, when he plays, he has, as you can see, he's got a captain's hat on, and he's basically not only performing as a musician on stage, but he's creating a theme on stage when you're looking at him. So whenever you see him perform at some of the bigger shows, whether it's at the Alameda County Fair or down at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, wherever it might be, he could have mermaids live on stage dancing or doing other things. And Stormy, what's the idea behind all that?
Well, the idea was that when I go to shows, I used to go to punk shows back when I was younger, and they're exciting, and there's always something going on, and it's not necessarily just the people on the stage. It's the crowd, and when I was in a punk band, we encourage people to get on stage, sing along. Of course, they're jumping off the stage, and there can be some general mayhem. But I found when I go to stage that the audience would kind of just sit there and watch. And for some bands, I love that kind of stuff. But when I go to see something, I want lots of things going on to keep my attention, because now you guys all have phones, and there's a lot of cool entertainment on those phones. So, you're kind of competing with a lot of other entertainment options.
Definitely.
So it
Yeah.
naturally just fit in with the nautical theme and ideas of eventually having mermaids in tanks and all kinds of more elaborate stage setups.
Ah, that's so cool. It's super fun playing with you because of the not only is the music great to listen to, but also there's a visual activity that's going on stage. So you could be watching the bass player, you could be watching you and Soraya playing and singing together in harmony, and then also you have mermaids on the side of the stage doing a interpretive, swim kind of like dance of whatever it is, and super fun, super
Yeah,
fun.
and Justin rocks. He rocks it.
I love, you can't, when you like the music, it's hard to not have fun, right? So when you watch a musician on stage, you can feel the energy and know if they're having a fun time on stage or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's more fun with the mermaid. The more people, the better, I think, on the stage.
Yep, definitely. It's funner to do things together and to have a nice big band. It's just a lot of fun. Now, Stormy, you play the guitar, you're a songwriter, and we're going to do a super fun exercise right now. You're going to pick up your guitar, and I'm going to give you a theme, and I'm going to just pick out a couple different words, and you need to come up with a quick song for the kids out there, and I want them to experience your improv skills. So it's really creating things out of the blue and digging it out, and you're going to make a hit song right now.
No pressure.
Now, Stormy, can you explain to us this guitar to the kids right now?
Well, this is a Martin OGM orchestra model acoustic guitar. It doesn't have a cutaway for like getting down further on the strings. It's like usually I used to play dreadnought guitars, which are like have a deeper, bassier sound. But a good friend of mine, we were going to a music shop trying guitars, and he was like, "I think this is the guitar that fits you for the sound you're doing." So I started playing it, and Martin is a well-known, great brand. So I've been really happy with this, and I've been beating it up, as you might be able to see.
Very cool. So what you were talking about is like when you picked it up, you kind of were feeling the guitar and you felt like the guitar, um, it made you feel comfortable, right? Like every guitar is different, right?
Right. Yeah. It didn't feel oversized, didn't feel too small because you get a smaller body. It doesn't have as much projection and sound. You get a big one, it has a lot. And how, depending on how people sing, you could drown yourself out.
So you can't just go on Amazon, type in acoustic guitar, and just choose a guitar based on price. You literally have to pick it up and play it for it to really sing to you, if you will, right?
Yeah. And I always, early on, that's not how I did. I just would get a guitar. I liked the way it looked. And later on, I learned, and I'd be embarrassed to go noodle around and, in the guitar center and stuff with all these guys shredding when I just wanted to figure out which guitar I wanted. But over time, I realized that was the only way.
Nice, nice. All right, so this is the fun part. This is the fun part, students. We're going to challenge Stormy Strong right now to a songwriting competition. Well, not competition. He's just writing a song. He's just writing a song.
Competition. What happens if I lose?
Stormy, I'm going to bring a special guest right now, and he's going to challenge you. His name is Jack Black. All right, so Stormy, this is your challenge right now. I am going to give you a theme, and the theme is the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk.
The Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk.
That is the theme. So you're going to come up with a song about either going to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk or the feelings about going there. And students out there, Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk is an amusement park right on the beach. And Stormy's going to write a song about going to the boardwalk. So you can include rides in there, cotton candy, but you also have to include Popeye in that song.
Okay.
So right now, Stormy is thinking and he's going deep in the files of his brain and trying to pull out different words and lyrics. And he's doing a skill that's called, it's basically, it's like a muscle you have to exercise in your brain called improvisation, which means you're kind of just thinking about things and making up things on the go. And so right now, I can imagine what's going through his brain, but he's trying to figure out lyrics. And he's kind of explained to me the process of what you're doing right now.
Well, right now I'm just thinking if the chords that I'm playing are the ones I want to use, I'm kind of thinking about how it might change from a verse to a chorus. I'm thinking about how to use the lyrics about my adventures at the boardwalk, which actually I just the moment thinking about it made me remember something. And yeah, how I'm going to get from a chorus to a verse to a chorus and then maybe back and fit these kind of lyric things in and also have it be fun. And the main thing is have it be, for me, I like them to be a little catchy. So we'll try something here. I'm down by the beach, just looking for some fun. Cotton candy all around. The kids are playing in the sand. If only I could take a little time and have some fun with you. If only I could be there with Popeye. Popeye, come on down to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. We can have some fun. Popeye, we can go on for a walk. The boardwalk's waiting for you. When this COVID's gone, you'll be there too. Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk waits for you. Maybe tomorrow I'll get my surfboard, have some fun. Maybe someday I'll buy a boat and sail away. Time to find a place to have more fun today. take a walk. Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Popeye, he's ready to be licensed again. Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. I can't think of the name that owns him, but I bet you have the dough to claim him. Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk.
Wow, that was amazing. Students, give Stormy a round of applause. Stomp your feet. Throw
I'm
salt
already
water in
thinking
the
about
air.
how I can make it better.
Woo! That was, oh my goodness, that was awesome. Students, he just pulled that out of his brain and put all the crazy stuff together. That was amazing, Stormy.
Oh, thank you, Justin. There is some crazy in there if you listen back to it.
I think you just created the new theme song for the boardwalk. That was awesome. Yeah,
Well, thank you.
yeah. No more Smash Mouth, okay? Stormy Strong.
They do
Stormy
need a new
Strong.
theme song. They've had the same one for too long.
They did. It's time for a new theme song for sure. Well, Stormy, thank you so much for spending time with us and the students today. Stormy, can you give like some last bit of advice to someone that might be interested in playing music or performing or maybe becoming a mermaid out there
Okay.
for the students?
Yeah, well, with music, I think that like you never listen to what anyone tells you if you like doing it, even if you start off in a rudimentary. I mean, literally, when I started learning guitar, I was just, and people would tell me to shut up and turn that thing off. And the thing is to keep going and don't listen. Just follow your inner voice and create what you want to create, and surround yourself with similar people. If you're looking to be a songwriter, find other songwriters. You're always learning. I never even was able to write the songs I did without working with other musicians. So kind of you just got to get started. And every time you sit down to write a song, you have to, or do anything musical, you got to start. That's the hardest part.
I love that. So the key takeaway, students, always be a student and always be wanting to learn at life, and working with others really will help you to kind of, hone in on your craft, whatever it might be or whatever it is. So Stormy, thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me, Justin.
Thank you, Stormy, so much for coming to class today. Students, parents, adults, please check out Stormy. Stormy, where can we find your music?
You can Google Stormy Strong or go to stormystrong.com. It's on all the major streaming services. So you'll definitely find me, and you'll probably find Justin too.
Excellent. Students, again, on the count of three, say thank you to Stormy. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Stormy.
Thank you very much, you all. Thank you, Justin.
All right, students, thank you so much for tuning in today to class. I hope you have a great week, an incredible weekend, and we'll see you next time.